Hey everyone, and welcome to the 4th episode of Mean Green Screen, where we give you our thoughts and predictions on the biggest topics in sports. I'm your host, Armando Berry, and today is the eve of what can be a championship-clinching Game 5 for the LA Lakers against the Miami Heat tomorrow night. But first, let's get into Game 4. With me to break it all down is Jennifer Holberg and Reed Smith. Guys, this one did not disappoint, but Jennifer, I want to ask you, what were your thoughts on Game 4?
Game 4 looked about what I thought it was going to look like. The first two quarters were very evenly matched. You had the Heat come out. You have Bam Adebayo back. They were pretty evenly matched up until about the third quarter, and then you just saw LeBron just kind of take over, which is exactly what I expected, and it's just going to travel into tonight as well, unfortunately.
Okay, Reed, let me hear what was your reaction to the game.
I agree with Jennifer here. LeBron did have 28 points here, most of them coming in the second half. And the third quarter seemed to be the changing point of the game, and I think we really did see the Lakers' size come to fruition again. I mean, I think a perfect metaphor of the whole game would be LeBron James overpowering Tyler Hero on that highlight dunk in the third quarter. You know, I think that the Heat, put up a pretty good close fight, but the Lakers were a bigger team and a better team at the end there.
Yeah, I definitely see where you guys are coming from, talking about LeBron's greatness and Anthony Davis' greatness. They did have great games in the end, but I think this game was a lot more competitive than people really thought it was. Davis didn't get a free throw or a point in the paint until the end of the third quarter, and LeBron really could not stop turning over the ball until the fourth. And I feel like the Lakers really just they made better plays down the stretch, and they just showed that they were able to just make better plays. So I want to ask you, Jennifer, how did Bam Adebayo's return end up not being a non-factor in this game?
Well, you definitely saw that he was still kind of struggling, that he's still injured. He's not at 100%. He did sit out, and a lot of people don't realize even maybe 4 or 5 days off, you have to get back into shape after those 4 or 5 days off. And you could just tell that shoulder injury was still just lingering. He just wasn't fully there and was not the size that the Heat really needed him to be for that game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Jennifer. I think it was a combination of the injury coming back, and then it's also his first full game in the series. He got 2 fouls in the first quarter, and in the second quarter he got his groove, but it still just wasn't the same performance that we've seen against the Celtics last series. But Reed, I want to ask you, after playing these 4 games, who has been the most important player on the court?
I think Anthony Davis. He had a pretty off game last game, as we talked about, but the guy is still the tallest man on the court. He still commands the paint when he wants to. Obviously, we didn't see the complete effort in the first half. And I want to look at his toughness. I mean, in the second half, Anthony Davis went down 2 times where trainers came out and tended to him. So it wasn't just like a nick on the knee or anything like that. But yeah, Anthony Davis is the predominant player and the best player in the series.
Okay, Jennifer, do you agree with Reed?
I do not, as much as I love Anthony Davis. And I mean, you can arguably say he was the best player. I mean, you can just tell the aura around LeBron James right now. Like, he may not score the most points, but he's definitely, he's leading to rebounds and assists, which is insane. I understand that he does have turnovers. He's always had a turnover problem, but he can turn it around so fast. And just that determination you see on his face, like the non-smiling, just the way he is just going at it, definitely has been the most prominent for the Lakers in this series.
Yeah, Jennifer, I agree with you. I think LeBron is really, whenever he started making plays last night, that's when everyone else on the team started making plays. They were really neck and neck. And then Rondo, who didn't even score the whole game, he got this 2-point layup, and that was the most important 2 points of the game, in my opinion. So, Jennifer, I want to ask you, tomorrow night, what happens?
The Lakers win. I mean, that's simple enough to say. I don't think you can afford to let the Heat back in this. Like, you have to close out tomorrow. LeBron, AD, they have to come out firing. You have to give those shots to KCP and Danny Green. Like, everyone needs to be on tomorrow, but I definitely think the Lakers win.
Okay, so if that happens and the season's over, I want to look into what happens on Wednesday, November 18th. That's my mama's birthday. The NBA draft happens, So I want to see, I'm going to ask you, Reed, if you're the Timberwolves and you have the number 1 pick, real quick, who do you draft?
You draft Anthony Edwards. I mean, you need a guard. He's a great guard coming out of Georgia. Anthony Edwards is just a prolific scorer, and he's the no doubt first pick of the draft.
Okay, Jennifer, I want to hear, if you have the second pick and you're the Warriors, what do you do?
So if I was the Warriors, I definitely think James Wiseman is such a great option. You would have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and potentially James Wiseman out on the court together. I just don't see a team being able to beat that for a 7-game series next year at all.
Okay, I kind of see where you're coming from, but personally, I think the Warriors, they get LaMelo Ball, and they hold him up and they say, who wants him? You know, if you look back at their past, they've had Steph, Clay, but I feel like that's just what they need to do. But thanks for joining me. While the NBA is ending soon, the NFL is just getting started. We talk football next. We are nearly a quarter way through the 2020 NFL season, and so many things have impacted the league so far. Injuries, COVID-19, and Josh Allen. But in this segment, we're going to let you know which teams listed in the Magic Bowl are contenders or pretenders. Alongside me is Mark Breer and AJ Tellers. Are y'all ready to talk some football?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Got to get this playoff race going.
All right, AJ, this is your segment idea. I want to start this one out with you. Let's see what we got here.
Who we starting with?
We're starting with, okay, the New England Patriots.
Whew.
Yes.
I think it's as simple as with Cam Newton, they are contenders. Without Cam Newton, they are pretenders. Look, this is still Bill Belichick's Patriots. This Patriot way still works. Yes, Tom Brady's gone, but this is still the most well-coached team in the league. And it's the number 2 rushing offense with Cam Newton under center, and they're number 2 at stopping the run. They're number 2 at takeaways, excuse me. This team is still one of the best in football with Cam Newton. Without Cam Newton, it was tough to watch during that Chiefs game. But it's as simple as with Cam, they're contenders. Without, they're not.
All right, the Patriots have AJ's vote. Mark, do they have yours as well?
Oh, of course they have my vote. You know, I'm going to have to agree with AJ. And as you know, Armando, I am a Patriots fan. I'm not going to try to be biased, though. With Cam Newton, they're definitely contenders. They can hang with the best teams in the league. If they had Cam Newton, I'd argue that they would be in the Chiefs because Brian Hoyer absolutely stunk. He honestly did not look like an NFL quarterback. But like AJ said, Belichick is Belichick. He's the GOAT of any coach in the league. So I'm going to have to agree. They are contenders.
I hate to join the bandwagon, but I'm going with the Patriots too. But the question really is with Cam Newton. You know, will they get him back because he did have COVID-19? So I have to see what plays out after that. All right, Mark, this one will start with you.
All right.
The Indianapolis Colts.
I'm going to have to go contender because of the way their offense is structured. They have a run-first offense, which means that they're going to take up a lot of time of possession. With Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines, their defense is one of the best defenses in the league, holding the last 3 opponents to under 12 points. So I'm going to have to say contender. Phillip Rivers isn't as good as he used to be, but I think he can make it to where they can win.
Okay, AJ, how do you feel about the Colts?
I agree with Mark, but I think the Colts are probably the toughest team to read. And he's right. The story is their defense. They're number 1 in passing, number 3 in rushing, but number 1 in the 2 most important categories to me. They're number 1 in third down defense, and they're number 1 in scoring defense. And they're a run-first offense. And while the offensive numbers don't jump off the page for you, it's been all about that defense. Now, they have taken advantage of a weak schedule. They've beaten the Bears with that red flag week 1 loss against Jacksonville. Like Mark said, the offense isn't the strength of the team. It's this defense and the running game. But to me, 8 of their next 12 games are against teams with winning records. So they're contenders for now, but I look for them to be one of the candidates to slip out of that category going forward.
Okay, they're set up to face the Browns in Week 5. I want to ask you, AJ, what do you think is going to happen?
I think the Browns are for real. I'm sure that's a team in that bucket that you have there. But Cleveland's quarterback play has been the best it's been in a long time. This is the best Baker Mayfield has been as an NFL quarterback. You look at this run game, they're asking Baker to do the least that they've ever asked him to do. Baker's gone from 4 touchdowns and 6 interceptions through the first 4 games, averaging in his first 2 seasons, to 7 touchdowns and just 2 picks through week 4 here. Best running game in football, and they lead the league in takeaways. I think it's going to be a defensive struggle, but Baker and that Brown offense, I think, is going to get it done against Indy.
All right, let's move on to the next team in the Magic Bowl. Okay, we're sticking with the Cleveland Browns. So I guess I'll throw this one to Mark. What do you think about the Cleveland Browns?
I think that they are contenders to make the playoffs, but not win a Super Bowl. I don't, like AJ said, Baker has been playing a lot better, and they have the best rushing attack in the NFL. But I don't see Baker leading them to a Super Bowl. I don't see their new coach leading them to a Super Bowl. They've also taken advantage of a really easy schedule, and I don't think they can win a Super Bowl without winning that division, and I think they'll probably come in 3rd place in that division with Pittsburgh and Baltimore in that.
Okay, definitely. Y'all brought up how good they are and how they have the run, but their running backs haven't gotten hurt recently. Nick Chubb's got hurt, and then Kareem Hunt is listed as probable from not being able to participate all the way in practice. Let's go to the next thing. All right, AJ, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They're similar in situation from Indianapolis. I think they're a defensive-minded team with a defensive coach in Mike Tomlin. They have the number 1 rush defense in the league and probably the best front 7 in the league. But like Indianapolis, the offensive numbers are near the bottom of the league. And like Indianapolis as well, they have had a weak schedule. The 3 wins are against the Giants, Texans, and Broncos. And before Denver played the Jets, none of those teams had a win on the board. So in the same position as Indianapolis, I think they're contenders right now because of their defense. They have nice pieces on offense, but it's going to have to be a wait and see. As the schedule gets tougher, they're going to have to prove out of all the undefeated teams and of all the division leaders, they have answered the least amount of questions so far.
Okay, AJ, I'm going to stick with you real quick because you brought up their schedule, and they're set up to face the Eagles this week. How do you feel like that's going to come out as Carson Wentz is kind of getting his momentum back after that 49ers win?
So I think it's actually a good matchup for the Steelers. The Eagles aren't a team right now that's going to get in any shootouts, and neither are the Steelers. But it comes down to the front 7. Philadelphia has 17 sacks on the board. Their problem is not on the defensive side, at least compared to their issues on the offense. I think that defensive front for Pittsburgh, anchored by T.J. Watt, is just going to give too much trouble for Carson Wentz. I have the Steelers in that one.
All right, thank you, Mark. Thank you, AJ. We're keeping it on the football field, but at the college level next. Stick with us. While the NFL has kept me thrilled so far this season, I cannot say the same for UNT football. Over the weekend, the Mean Green football team suffered yet another disappointing loss, 41-31. This time, they handed Southern Miss their first win since last November. With me to break down the game is Erica C. and Jose Moreno. Erica, I'm just going to ask you first, what was our problem on Saturday?
Honestly, I think our biggest problem was miscommunication. I don't think that we had the same mindset going into the game, and I think that caused us to not be able to hold on to the ball, which resulted in 2 turnovers in the game. So definitely miscommunication.
Okay, Jose, I'm going to ask you then, was it more Southern Miss just being better than us, or as UNT just keeps shooting itself in its foot?
I'm going to agree with Eric on this one. I think it's all UNT's fault. They did literally everything I told them not to do last week. Listen, don't play it on a competition. Don't play it on anything. I mean, play well, stay humble, actually, control yourselves. And I also blame the quarterback in the situation. Now, he played like me, dude. If you put me out there, I would have played just like you, bro. Come on. You're 26 years old. You've been playing college football. You know how to do this stuff, man. I mean, you're playing awful.
Okay, Jose, I want to keep it with you then. We had the game against an FCS team. We did good. We thought we were going to have a great season. We lost against SMU, and we said, well, they're SMU. And then we lost to Southern Miss to where we're like, well, we definitely should have beat them. So I want to ask you, while it feels like we can't even get anything started, is there still hope for our season?
There's not. I've become just depressed watching this team. I mean, maybe they'll get better over time. Who knows? But the fact is, the quarterback situation is awful because none of our quarterbacks are developed enough to lead this team right now. At the same time, our coaching situation is awful because we lost that coach in the beginning of the season. We keep playing down, and we've lost our maturity. Our defense is struggling, and we caught COVID in some players. So, I mean, who knows if they'll play at the same rate as they used to. At this point, UNT is playing awful, man. I mean, I'm surprised if we even beat Charlotte this weekend, dude. I'd be super surprised if we beat Charlotte.
Okay, yeah, Jose, you brought up Charlotte. So, Eric, I want to ask you now. Jose is not in the best. He's very pessimistic right now. So, Saturday, we have another game against a winless team in Charlotte. Do the Mean Green get it done?
I mean, I honestly think it depends on our offense. Like Jose said, our quarterback situation isn't the best right now. I mean, I thought we were better off with Jason Bean as quarterback. I feel like the offense was more connected with him. So I definitely think it just depends on the offense this weekend.
And Erica, speaking about the quarterbacks, what is Jason Bean posting on Twitter? These hints and mysteries of the days getting better, and I'm working hard. I mean, the fact is, he played one game and already benched the guy. I feel so bad for Jason Bean.
I know. I feel bad for him too.
Yeah, I mean, talking about UNT football, you're getting me a little bit depressed. So let's switch over to something a little more exciting. The Red River rivalry game is happening. What are you most excited about? Jose, I'm going to ask you, what are you most excited about?
I'm excited to watch both teams just score like 8,000 points against each other because whenever these games happen, they just don't play defense. This is a classic rivalry. This is like your American version of Chelsea against Arsenal. I mean, it is top-tiered football rivalry, and I think I'm just glad to watch it just be such a high-scoring game. I don't even watch college football that much.
Okay, Erica, give it to me. What are you looking forward to?
Well, honestly, this is my favorite game of the season. I'm a UT fan, so I'm really excited to see Sam Ehlinger and the rest of the Longhorns and see how they play this week and step it up since they lost last week against TCU. Same with OU. I'm looking forward to see how the offense and defense both step it up, considering that they lost against Iowa State and gave up 417 yards. But, we'll see.
Okay, definitely. I mean, I got to agree with you, Erica. I'm most excited to see the senior Texas quarterback, Sam Ehlinger. He threw 14 TD passes in his first 3 games, so I'm thinking that he's going to have a big game because this Sooner pass rush has really not been doing anything this season. I mean, Kansas State's Skylar Thompson had a great game. Iowa State's Brock Purdy had a great game, so I think Sam Ehlinger definitely has to go off this game. So I want to ask you, Jose, what's your prediction for this game?
Since Erica picked UT, I'm going to be the contrarian, and I'm going to pick OU. I just believe that OU, although is playing kind of bad right now, I think they can beat UT. I mean, UT is the team of just disappointment, just like UNT. Great hype in the preseason, in the season. They kind of, oh my God, we're winning games. But you got to remember, this is the same team that lost to TCU last week. So I don't even know. Both teams are just like, to me, it's like 2 hobos fighting over a half-eaten sandwich at this point. It's just kind of not going to be a good game. But maybe I'm hoping OU wins and they just prevail in this kind of toilet bowl of games.
Okay, Erica, Jose's not really telling me what I want to hear. Are you going to tell me what I want to hear?
I mean, I honestly just think OU's quarterback's not the best right now. Spencer Rattler's having some rough times, but I think Sam Ehlinger is really going to be motivated because it is his last year as UT quarterback and his last encounter with OU, and OU's defense is not good. So I definitely think that UT and OU are definitely going to fight really hard for this game. They always do. It's always back and forth between the two winning each game. So I definitely think that they both have a good shot, but I'm going for Texas. So.
Okay. Thank you, Erica and Jose. If you want to test how much you really know sports, stick around. We've got Trivia Thursday next. It's Trivia Thursday, so it's time to find out what you really know. We're sticking with college football for this week's theme. Joining me for the ultimate test is Jacob Bernardini and James Carroll. Did y'all come prepared?
I think I did, but I'm not sure, honestly.
I'm going to answer with a solid maybe.
All right, let's get started, guys. Number one, who is the youngest player to ever win the Heisman Trophy? You're going to write down your answers on the board, and then you're going to show it to me one at a time. A, Jameis Winston, B, Lamar Jackson, or C, Robert Griffin III? All right, does everyone have theirs punched in?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to go with Jacob first. Let me see it.
I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson because it's Lamar Jackson.
Makes sense. It's Lamar Jackson. James, how are you feeling?
I also said Lamar Jackson.
All right, ding, 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 ding. The answer was Lamar Jackson.
Awesome.
Y'all both have 1 point. Lamar Jackson was 19 and 337 days old.
Wow.
I want to get some success like that when I grow up. Number two, which team has the most college football wins of all time? A, Alabama, B, Ohio State Buckeyes, or C, Michigan Wolverines? All right. James, like you thinking hard over there.
He's nervous.
All right, James, I want you to reveal it first.
All right. I got Alabama.
Okay. And then, Jacob, I want to go to you now.
I'm going to go blue Michigan Wolverines.
Looks like Jacob's more of a genius today. Jacob got it. Yes, the Michigan Wolverines have 953 all-time wins. Number three. Okay. Number three. Which college quarterback has the most wins Which starting college quarterback has the most wins in NCAA Division I history? A. Tim Tebow, B. Kellen Moore, or C. Vince Young? I don't think y'all gonna get this one.
Oh, I think we are. We might, because I think we talked about this outside.
I think I might have
All
a
right,
little bit
Jacob,
of.
let me see what you got.
I picked Kellen Moore, and I even put his record 50-3 for Boise State.
Okay, show off.
All right, James, let me see what you put.
I also chose Kellen Moore.
All right, y'all got that one. Yep.
Very nice.
Kellen Moore, 50-3 record as a starting QB at Boise State.
Yes, sir.
Score is now Jacob 3, James 2. Number 4. Who was the highest paid college football coach last season? A. Jim Harbaugh, B. Nick Saban, or C. Dabo Swinney?
God.
Thinking long and hard about that one. All right,
That's how
James.
you spell his name. All right, I'm going to go C. Dabo Sweeney.
All right, Jacob.
I'm also going to go Dabo Sweeney.
Y'all guys are just making this no fun. Y'all both got it right.
I guess I did come prepared.
All righty. Yep, Coach Swinney was paid $9,315,600 in the 1920 season. Jacob, what would you do if you had that kind of money?
What would I do if I had that kind of money? I'd go on a nice vacation in Italy. That's what I would do. But honestly, I don't know what I would do with that money.
All right, number 5. Which college has produced the most NFL players overall? Notre Dame Irish, B. Alabama, or C. LSU? All right, James, let's see it.
All right, I know this might be a recent pick, but I'm going with LSU.
All right, Jacob.
I'm going to go with the Crimson Tide.
And y'all are both wrong for that one. The correct answer was Notre Dame.
Yeah, that makes sense, honestly.
It makes sense because, like, of recently, LSU and Alabama have had the most, but of all time, Notre Dame is the most. All right. Moving on to number 6. Which team is the oldest college football team of all time? A. Princeton, B. Rutgers, or C. Michigan? All right, Jacob. Think you know it?
I'm going to go with Rutgers. I know they started, even though they might not be the same as they were probably back in the 1870s.
All right, James, let me see what you got.
I'm going to go B. Rutgers, the birthplace of football.
All right, y'all both got that one.
Yes, sir.
The birthplace of college football.
Jacob, you're up 5-4. Let's see. Last 2 questions. 7. What year was the first ever college football game played? A. 1967, B. 1869, or C. 1850? All right, Jake, you look ready over there. Okay, let's see it.
I'm going to go with 1869. Nice.
Nice. Okay, James, let me see what you put.
All right, I'm going to go 1850 just to be different and try and catch up with my opponent.
Jacob takes another one.
Oh, no.
You're
I've
up 6-4.
clinched the win.
All right, James, thanks for playing, and thank you all for watching. You can catch more Mean Green Scream Thursdays at 4. See you next time.